Welcome to RPG Hangout, the podcast in which we both choose an RPG and talk about it. I am your host, Leo, joined by my co-host, Nathan.
Hey, what's up?
Today, our main topic of discussion is Chrono Cross and Ghostwire Tokyo, correct?
Yes.
I think both topics that we are kind of excited to talk about because...
I'm so excited to talk about Ghostwire, dude.
For you, it's because it's a game that you've been super hyped about for quite a while, and for me...
Yeah.
It's because for the past week, this game has been boggling my mind, and I need an outlet. So
This is the perfect outlet for you.
Exactly. It's fucking time to just go on a rant about whatever the fuck that's about. Anyhow, so news this week is mercifully short compared to last week. It's going to be a fairly nice, brisk jaunts through Newsville before we dive on into video game nightmares. So, shall we begin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think the kind of biggest bit of news this week, right off the bat, is E3 is canceled this year.
What? Why?
Well, I didn't really catch their main excuse. They're canceling it this year, but they intend to do it next year. It's possible that it's related to the kind of rise in COVID and shit that's kind of happening again.
Yeah, it's having like a spike.
Yeah. It's because... we'll avoid COVID talk for now. But it's very possible that is part of the reason. They are canceling both in-person and virtual events, and most people are declaring this kind of the final nail in E3's coffin. Because for the longest time, I believe Nintendo hasn't really hosted an event at E3 in a long time, and Sony hasn't hosted an event since 2018. So,
oh my god.
Yeah. So E3 is kind of it's kind of been dying anyway.
Even the state of play though, that's not considered. Well, yeah, no, not a physical event. Yeah, never mind.
You know, state of play is Sony's own thing. Nintendo Directs are Nintendo's own thing.
Yeah, it's all like online though. So
that's the problem. Is that all of these companies are doing their own things. So E3, the conference in which everything kind of comes together, is kind of becoming irrelevant. Though,
yeah.
On that note, and potentially to your dread, Jeff Keighley did announce that the Summer Games Fest is still going to happen. That's his kind of thing.
To my dread?
Well, so Summer Games Fest is very similar to, the Spring Showcase. So it's where they talk about a whole bunch of games in fairly rapid succession.
Oh boy.
Yes, so take last episode and bam, there it is again, baby. Except for I have made
back at you.
Yeah, I have made a vow that I will trim the fat a bit. So indie games will have to massively impress to be mentioned, and then I'll just kind of keep it to mostly interesting things like ooh, Ghostbusters, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kirby's out.
As I saw, looks kind of cool.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of met with mild fanfare. Supposedly, it is very good. It's very fun, but it didn't have like the big, it's out, big surprise, yay, hype.
Yeah, no, yeah, it just kind of came out. Like they had that, like they had the advertisement and everything, which was fine. But like before I knew it, I looked on the freaking eShop and it was like, oh, Kirby's out. I was like, whoa, what? Really?
For me, I was just kind of scrolling on my phone and someone started streaming it and I was like, okay, so I guess Kirby's out. Cool. Neat. And for the longest time, I was actually very worried that was going to be it for the news. But literally today and yesterday, some things came in massively clutch to pad it out a little bit.
Nice.
So a sequel / sort of reboot to Monkey Island has been announced for this year, actually, called Return to Monkey Island.
Cool.
It looks really nice in a cool kind of art style. It is coming out this year. It's, I believe, a sequel to Monkey Island 2. It's a cute thing. I like it. Persona 5 is going to leave the PS Plus collection.
Oh, good thing I own 2.
Yeah. Good thing never mind, I bought it, so... That doesn't save me.
Wait, really? You bought it? I thought you were playing it on the PS Plus Connect collection.
No. I mean, regardless, I also bought Royal, so...
Oh, you bought Royal? Really?
Yeah.
Was that recent?
No.
No. Disappointing, no.
Yeah. Hear my pain. Feel my pain. I will transmit my pain through my bad spending habits.
God. I'll finish that game and talk about it eventually.
I'll finish it eventually. I'll get to Royal eventually. Anyway, Lego Star Wars released. I finally got it. Goal achieved. I got it.
Have you played it?
I have.
Nice.
I'll talk about it.
That's not what today's about, so move on.
Yeah. Well, I'll mention it a little bit later, but I'll, of course, be primarily talking about it next week. They announced a new Elgato. The Elgato HD60X.
That's poopy.
So it is an Elgato designed primarily for next-gen consoles, so the PS5, the Series X and S.
So it's like high-performance bullshit.
Yeah, it's very high performance. It's $200.
Oh my god.
Yes. But it looks nice. My poor Elgato becomes more and more outdated as time moves on.
Right. And you got it for free.
I got one for free, then I bought the other one.
Yeah.
And you, I believe, got the free one.
No, I thought you gave me your old one.
Yeah, that was the one I got for free. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Time is a loop. Anyway.
All I know is I don't even use it anymore. I should. I don't even use it anymore.
Moving on from Elgato. The Unreal Engine 5 has finally come out of its little beta. And
it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful.
I'm super excited for it. And they announced a new Tomb Raider game. And it's going to be made in Unreal Engine 5.
Wow, it's going to look great.
Yeah, if you thought her hair was insane in the past 3 games, you haven't seen shit, son. But yeah, I love the look of Unreal Engine 5. They've been doing some amazing things with it.
I've been watching YouTube videos of it, and it looks crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like the demo that they released before the PS5 came out. Oh, crisp.
You know, it's really weird to think that now that I have a great computer, I could actually use Unreal Engine 4, which is something we tried to do way back when.
Yes.
And now I don't even touch it. I don't even think about it. And it's like, wow, I could do that. I could do it now. I have the capabilities to do so now, but it's just not a passion anymore. And
yeah. I mean, I still have the constant urge and want to make a game, but then every time I go and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I won't do that though. Let's go ahead and continue this train. We're near the end already. Chrono Cross, by the time this comes out, its remaster, Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition, will be out. I do intend to get it because I want to be able to see it. Actually, that's kind of I want to see it. And then there's kind of 2 bits of news that kind of don't fully fit. One, this was announced today. Chris Pratt has been cast as Garfield for a Garfield movie.
They're making another one?
Yeah, I think it's gonna probably be more animated than the live action ones.
I mean, I ain't even gonna lie to you. The live action ones were pretty cool at the time.
Yeah, they weren't terrible. I mean, Tale of Two Kitties was a bit rough, but
yeah, but the first one, watching it as a kid, it was like, okay, this is pretty cool, cool.
And then some of the animated ones were also fine. I kind of liked them, but I just don't know about Chris Pratt though.
Doesn't really fit Garfield.
He does not. You look at Chris Pratt, and most of his characters are vaguely bubbly, very the stupid himbo kind of optimistic. That's most of his characters.
Not necessarily dumb, but
yeah,
just kind of winging their entire life.
Yeah, but that's kind of so. The main reason I decided to put this in as news is because, of course, Chris Pratt was also cast as Mario for the Mario movie.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so I don't know. They're just
what about culture, man?
Well, see, I think part of it is because of the reaction that they got when they announced Chris Pratt as Mario. When they were considering him for Garfield, after all this, like, all the jokes coming out, like, Chris Pratt has been cast as, like, Sora for Kingdom Hearts. You know, a lot of jokes like that.
Yeah.
I think the studio was just like, well, now we have to.
They're like, damn it.
We were contemplating it, but now we have to. For the meme. Yeah. Then this final bit...
People really want to see it.
I don't. I really don't. I've never heard him do, like, a monotone, like, disinterested voice. I don't know if I want to.
I can't even begin to imitate it.
Exactly.
Like, it's so hard to do. Everything I've seen Chris Pratt in is like, no, he's not Garfield for sure.
Well, yeah, like you look at the Lego Movie.
There's so many other people he could have done.
Oh yeah,
they could have chose.
He would have been actually a perfect Nermal.
Yo, for real, or like honestly, an Odie. He could have been an Odie.
He doesn't have to talk, that's for sure.
Yeah, he could just say like dumb noises, and he'd be great.
Yeah, but they're probably going to get Alan Tudyk for Odie. You want a guy to be a fucking animal and just do animal noises. Bam, Alan Tudyk's your guy. He was the chicken in Moana.
I've never seen Moana, so
yeah, he nailed it.
He was a chicken, all right. He was a chicken.
Not just any chicken, a dumb chicken. All right, this last bit of news is kind of like, sizzle for next week more. It's just kind of to say, I'm going to have to do some research after the fact. So the Kingdom Hearts event is going to be at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Oh, and when is this?
Sunday.
Okay.
Yep. So.
Damn.
Yeah, it's going to be...
So basically for me, I'm just going to be waking up and...
Googling it.
Hearing about it.
Yep. Same. I'm not staying up for that. Fuck that.
Nah. That's pretty late, especially on what day it is. Mm-hmm. I got work the next day, so
exactly. Like that day, I'll probably wake up early to stream and shit. I'm not gonna stay up that late.
I have high hopes, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what they say about it, but like I'll just hear about it when I hear about it.
Yeah,
so.
Same. I will wake up, maybe grab myself a drink or something. I will sit down, and I'll take my notes on the event. And then I will move on. Okay. So with that, bam, news, tick, done. Into the main event. So, I think...
So you can talk about Chrono Cross first.
I will. So, let's go ahead and just kind of get some general questions out of the way. Or actually, first let's kind of get some, I guess, background information. I did not know about this game. I didn't know it existed for, like, a good long while. I had only heard of Chrono Trigger, and then I learned, they actually made a sequel to it. And then I got it. I was gifted it one day, and I only just now for this show got around to actually playing it. So I went in completely blind. Whereas with Chrono Trigger, I'd heard things, I'd learned a bit about the story because, I believe there's a completionist episode on it. A lot of popular, like, those older, like, game review shows, like Pro Jared, used to be JonTron and whatnot. Yeah. They would talk about games like Chrono Trigger all the time.
Like, very retro stuff.
Yeah. Like, that's how I learned about, like, the Ys series, is through those kinds of things. And that's how I learned about a lot of what happens in Chrono Trigger. But never heard of Chrono Cross. No one really ever talked about Chrono Cross. So, I didn't know exactly what to expect going into it. And, boy, after having played it for about... I think I've technically played it for about 5 hours, but it's actually more than that.
Right.
I died quite a few times. And got set back a couple times. But, yeah, so from there, let's go ahead and what kind of questions do you have?
So, is it connected to Trigger at all?
Very lightly.
So, it's basically just in the same universe.
Kind of.
Like, there's only references, or
it's very complicated.
Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Or is it a little bit afterwards?
Okay, so I can't say that. So according to the back of the box, it is set 20 years after Trigger.
Oh, you got it physical?
Oh hell yeah, I got a physical.
Oh shit!
I'm playing this shit on a PS1 with LCD screen.
Wait, it came out for PS1? Are you playing the original or the new one?
I'm playing the new one's not out yet. Of course, I'm playing the original.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you got early access. That's what I was talking about. You got you streaming it, and it was like,
oh no. I planned this out so that like the episode would come out around the release time. I am nowhere near getting early access to games. I wish. But yeah, I'm playing it original PS1. Yeah. So it is very loosely connected to to Chrono Trigger. During my stream, one of my viewers, like when I first started the game, I was like, okay, so it's kind of like this with the original game. It's kind of like that with the original game. And like the guy just immediately was like, don't compare it to Chrono Trigger. And I was like, fair enough. So from there, I just stopped trying to compare it to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
So the connections, I believe, there's the sword from the first game is in it, but they misinterpreted the name. They just, I think, went with the engraving that was on it. I believe one of the characters, according to some of the research I did, was raised at Luca's orphanage, supposedly. Okay. And then there's a cat guy that yells at you, calling you the Chrono Trigger, which is fun. So that's kind of the only connections I've found so far. Supposedly some other like minor characters also pop up here and there, but other than that, there's Luca and Sword.
You haven't gotten that far?
I have not gotten that far. No, I'm about 5-6 hours into it, give or take. It's
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's the classic one. It's one of those RPGs that kind of doesn't give you direction at all. It heavily wants you to look at the manual, and the entire time I've been like, I should look at the manual. I should look at the manual. I should look at the manual. I keep forgetting. So, like, it's literally right next to me. I could look at it literally right now, and I'm still not doing it. So that's where we're at. Yeah. So overall, the connections to the original game are few and far between. It's a mostly original thing. It doesn't even use like the same basic concept. It uses a very similar concept, but not the same one.
Right.
So Chrono Trigger is all about time travel, right?
Yeah.
Chrono Cross...
Weirdly enough.
Yes. Chrono Cross is about alternate dimensions.
Okay. So like, different timelines, different universes?
Yes.
Okay.
So, like I said, it has a similar concept. So, wearing, like, Chrono Trigger, you kind of go to these spots, these, like, little time hole things, and you use them to jump through time. In this, you go to a specific spot, and you jump to an alternate universe. And it's literally labeled, the two worlds are labeled Home World and Another World.
Very original.
Right? So, again, before we kind of go into further detail, any other general questions you've got about it?
Not really. Like, if it's not really connected to the other one, but kind of like on par with itself, it's like I really just want to hear about how it plays out, really. Okay. Or how much you've played of it.
Yeah, so, again, I'm not super far into it. In fact, I'm on disc 1. It's a 2-disc game. And the two first notes I made for this game were it's darker and complex combat. Those are the two main notes I made when I was first starting out playing the game. So in the tone of it's darker, it opens with like a kind of cold open, where you're running through like this base for some reason, and then you get through it, then there's some flashes, and then, you wake up. And one of the premonition things is you stabbing one of your party members to death. So...
Oh my god.
Right? Fucking metal, right? So you kind of just go through there, and You wake up, your mom berates you, says go meet your friend. You know, she's waiting. Very similar to Chrono Trigger and whatnot, but for this, it's you're just gonna go hang out with her, and
no festival.
No festival. There's heavy romantic tension between the two and everything.
It's really tense on the walk there.
Well, so you go to talk to her, and she's like, "You're late." So my mom sat me with babysitting duties. So you're gonna have to do some shit on your own. Go get the scales for the necklace that we were gonna make. And you're like, because you're a silent protagonist. So
I love that.
So you go and get the scales by beating up a bunch of lizards. If beat up enough lizards, Mama gets mad. So you fight Mama Lizard. So you get the scales, you go to the beach. She meets you there almost immediately and is like, hey, sorry for making you wait. Let's chill. And then she's pretty much sitting there planning out like your wedding, your children's wedding, and then a wave hits you and you're sent through time and space and shit, and you wake up on the beach. And an old lady's like, what the fuck are you doing on this beach?
Hey, yo, it's my beach. Get off.
And she has like a lizard or something with her too.
Oh, you punch her too? What's wrong with you?
No, you don't punch her.
You punch your lizards anyway.
I was, but not now. I already punched the required number of
you punch one lizard.
Necklace.
You punch one lizard. It's bad to not punch another lizard. It just looks bad on your reputation. I'm just saying.
But new dimension, clean slate.
Yeah, okay. You just kind of like forget about everything. That's fine. Continue.
No, the scars stay with you, but the lizards know nothing.
You just know that this is a new world and this is how life has to be.
Yes. This is life now.
Okay, continue.
Anyway, you ask her, like, where the girl you were with was, and she's like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Oh, her? She's back at the village. I didn't know she had friends. Sure. So, you work your way over to the village and talk to her, and she's like, who the fuck are you? And you're like, silent protagonist.
Oh my god, I knew that was coming.
Part of it was just thinking, but then I was like, yes.
God damn it, dude.
But, so she kind of goes off on a spiel about, there was this boy who drowned 10 years ago. His name was Serge, and I just realized I forgot to say the main character's name is Serge. Sarge.
Sarge.
Yeah, I'm pulling out the manual. They all have dumb names. Serge. There.
Serge. Yeah, that is kind of a weird name to give your kid.
Well, funnily enough, one of the other characters' names is Kid. So.
Hey, well, that's actually pretty normal, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, I've seen a lot of kids, like, people named Kid, and they're normally famous.
I think those are chosen names.
Oh, yeah, like aliases? Yeah, probably, yeah. I guess no one would really actually name their child Kid.
Oh, no, there's people. If people are willing to fucking call their child North,
North is a pretty cool name. I ain't even gonna lie.
Not when their last name's West.
Hey, Northwest, get up here. Write this math question.
It's a minor cruelty.
But anyway. East, Northwest.
Anyway, so she's like, his name was Serge. And then you do say, like, I'm Serge. And she's like, fuck you. Fuck off.
Oh, you actually talk?
Kind of. You're given dialogue choices, but it never, like, actually pops up.
But it's more like you saying it than him saying it.
Yeah, he probably just vaguely mimes.
He's like,
maybe he just, like, taps his chest 3 times trying to signal, that's me. And then she says, fuck you, he's dead. Stop talking about a dead kid.
Oh my god. So you're like him, but in this dimension.
Yes. So...
And the other one was from another dimension.
Well, kind of. So...
Or like you're from another dimension. And
you're from another dimension.
He was from this dimension, but he's died. He's dead now. Okay.
Yes. So...
He's got the same name, but you're him just different reality.
Yes, so it gets explained down the line that some event long ago happened that split the timeline. So the way an old guy in a library explains it is a while ago, an event in which he had a 50-50 chance of surviving happened, and a split happened. In one universe, he survived, and in the other one, he drowned and died. And thus, there's now 2 timelines. Why you got brought over? Who knows? What's happening? Who fucking knows? But basically, she says, oh, he's buried on this cliff, or at least he has a headstone on the cliff. So you go there, and you look at your own gravestone, and all I could think was, he's definitely not buried there, because that's a very, it's a very jutty cliff, like one of those pointy spire kind of cliffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the headstone is at the very top, and, if you were to try to dig 6 feet down, you would go through it. So, my theory is either when he drowned, they just left him there, or they chucked him off the cliff. Exactly. Those are my theories. Because he is sure as hell not buried where the headstone is. Well, the inscription also says that he was from the sea, and he was returned to the sea.
Okay. But do you think it's actually going to be answered later on?
Oh, hell no.
No? Okay.
Oh, no, because immediately after that, you're jumped by some guy saying, it's a ghost!
Hey, yo. He's got the right idea.
Well, so him and his 2 friends, which I'll get into their names later, him and his 2 friends are just like, okay, we've been sent here to get the ghost of a boy who died 10 years ago. You match the description, I guess, even though you just got here. So let's fight. So you fight them. And that's when Kid appears, joins the fray, and you beat the shit out of them. And then they walk away with their tails between their legs.
It's so funny hearing you talk about these games, because I look at screenshots from these games and it just seems so innocent and beautiful, and then you're like, and you beat the shit out of this guy. It's like, whoa, bro, what?
Oh yeah, no, they walk away saying, man, you're tougher than we thought.
It's like so much more brutal when you talk about it than when I see online, and it's like, damn. Like, that's why I like hearing you talk about these games, because it's a whole new level of taking these, like you play these games with a whole new perspective, and it's just like, it's like, holy shit, dude. Like, I looked at this game, it looked so beautiful and innocent, like there's like butterflies, in the background, and they beat the shit out of this kid, and it was crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought
and there's time travel, and like you're dead, but you're not actually dead. You're from another universe, and you're here. And
I thought it was going to be a nice little ocean sailing adventure. Like the ocean motifs are just out the wazoo when you start the game.
Did you go into this game thinking it was going to be connected to the other one, like a lot, or?
So I had heard before getting into it that it's not terribly connected, but I was expecting a little bit more of a connection. Like, the map doesn't look the same. The enemies are fairly different. It's 3D now. So
like at least have more references or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, there's some things like I said, the sword. I'm pretty sure that sword is the same sword from Chrono Trigger.
Right.
It's just a sword that is stuck in like a seashell, and people go to pray to it because it represents the fallen soldiers and whatnot. I'm pretty damn sure that's the sword, but we'll see.
Yeah.
If he even fucking comes up again, who knows? But yeah, so you then, I guess, decide, let's figure out why they want to beat me up. And then Kid has something about, a frozen flame.
Yeah.
I honestly can't fucking remember anything about a frozen flame as a motivation for moving on, but it's something, I guess.
It's kind of lost now.
Yes, it's lost somewhere. Where? Who knows? But it's gone. So you journey to the next town. In said town, you are trying to figure out how to get into the mansion, because that's where the people that beat you up or tried to beat you up go. And on your way to the town, you come across the 2 buffoons, the 2 lackeys of the one guy, and their names are Salt and Pepor.
Huh, that's very Intriguing.
Yes. Can you guess what they like to try to do?
They cook.
No, they like to shake it up.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we get into the next bit. A little diversion I'd like to get into. The puns. Oh boy, baby. Puns everywhere.
Puns of, like, everyday stuff, or...
You name it, there's a fucking pun for it, buddy. Someone got a weird name? That's their personality now. Puns ahoy. You fucking see a weird fucking creature? Its name is a pun. Or at least a very obscure animal. Like, so most enemy names are puns. Here are 3 of them. Alphabat. So, like alphabet, but it's a bat. Neon bulb. It's like an onion bulb, but, you know, onion bulb, light bulb. Then this is like a different version, so neon bulb. And then they have one that's just called a fucking gobbledygook.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Gobbledygook?
Yeah, gobbledygook.
That oddly sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah, it's a familiar term, but it feels like they were just like, what the fuck do we name this? A gobbledygook. Good enough.
Default. Yeah.
So that's a small detour into the puns. Boy, are there puns. That's the smallest fucking fraction of puns. They are everywhere. There's no tutorial, like I was saying. That's the next little diversion I'd like to go off on. So, figuring out things like the combat were a nightmare. And we'll get into the combat in a minute. But, so you go to the town, and as you're kind of looking for information about how to get into a place, you kind of come across this weird guy in, like a white suit, kind of talking about how he made a deal with a fortune teller, like a bet with a fortune teller, that he could break into the manor and steal something. And she gave him a specific thing that he needed to get to talk to her, and a specific location within the manor to get it. And he's just kind of mumbling off to himself. And once you find out that you need to go to the manor, you talk to him. He's like, I'll team up with you. Let's do this. All you need to do is get a sailor and a boat. I'll deal with the rest. And you go, sure. And he joins your team.
Oh, you said something.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Well, I was expecting you to be like, and you go.
Oh.
Because he was silent.
Oh, no. That's a rare joke. I only bring it up once in a while.
But now I'm just expecting it now.
Yeah. The joke is, it's not happening again for the rest of the episode.
Oh, fuck.
It'll only come up again when I play a game with a silent protagonist. You won't know when. Until I say it. Anyway, so you guys, you start to move, and the first thing I notice about this dude, he'll take a few steps, and then he'll just float.
Really?
Yes, he floats behind you. It's weird. So you journey on forward, and come across a sideshow where a guy has a mermaid in a tank, and he stops you and is like, hey, look, a fucking mermaid in a tank. Isn't that cool? It's real. And then a kid just starts throwing rocks at the guy. Then the kid's basically like, hey, stop being a dick. Like, this is a real creature, and you're being an asshole. You shouldn't keep it in such a small cage. You shouldn't keep it in a cage at all. And then he jumps off the bridge onto his boat, and then you meet him around the corner so that he can take you to the manor for the paltry sum of 100 gold. Which when I first got to him was a narrow margin. I almost couldn't afford to pay him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Then, for reasons, I did end up doing some grinding. Though leveling up in this game does not work how you think it does.
Really?
Yeah. So the main way you quote-unquote level up is by defeating bosses. So there's that.
Only?
Kind of. So you get stat boosts from defeating normal enemies. But the quote-unquote levels you only get after bosses. And they're actually called star levels.
Right.
Supposedly they're used for something down the line. I don't know what. But each star level you do get more elemental slots and everything. We'll kind of get into that stuff when we talk about combat. So you pay the ferryman and go down the river to the back entrance of the manor. And what you do is you start climbing up these vines. And a guard notices you. And he starts throwing boulders down the cliff to try to knock you off. and you keep climbing up, fight your way up. Once you finally get up to him, he goes, "Ah, shit, you made it up," and attacks you. You defeat him. He tries to make a last-ditch effort to throw a boulder at you, completely fucking misses. Hits a Birdman. The Birdman comes, knocks him off the cliff, and then you have to fight the Birdman.
That was a chain reaction.
Exactly. Birdman was hard. Took me like 4 tries to defeat Birdman.
Oh my god.
And each time I had to scale the wall, fight the guy, fight Birdman. Scale the wall, fight the guy, fight Birdman.
So it was pretty tedious.
Yes, until I went out of the original city, went grinding for a bit to boost my stats and defeat a boss that I had missed called a Dodo. And then I changed my elementals up a bit and went in and fought and killed the Birdman. Then afterwards, you have to Metal Gear your way through the manor.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping briefly to go into a stable and feed some quote-unquote dragons, though they look more like Parasaurolophuses, or Parasaurolophi, the dinosaur. You feed them, you get the key to the manor, you sneak your way over, enter, and then kind of bumble your way around the manor for a bit. Fastest way to move forward, get the code wrong, fall down, and then annoy some guards into trying to kill you. But then you kill them and steal their clothes.
Foolery.
And then you get stopped every fucking 5 feet by something who then rips off your clothes and fights you.
They have to rip off their clothes first.
Well, this is what happens. Like, you bump into an enemy, or a perceived enemy, and what happens is your disguises immediately disappear, and then you go into a fight. It's weird. But most of the things are just things that just fall on you, and it is one of those dungeons that are like, we know this is a dungeon. You're going to do tropey things, and you're going to fucking pay for it. You asshole. So, first thing you see is a chest. What do? You open it. Boom, it's a fucking mimic. And it says, you get 1 chance. Pick the right one. And then you're presented with 2 chests, and you attack one. It'll come up to you, and I got lucky. Both times I've encountered them, they gave me treasure.
Nice. Was it the same chest both times?
It was not.
Oh.
So one was, so it's usually a big chest and a little chest. The first time I went for the little chest, because I thought it was like one of those, don't be greedy kind of things.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it gave me some treasure. Then the next time, I punched the big chest, and it came up, like, it sprouted huge fucking arms and just, like, walloped up to me. I was like, oh shit. And then it gave me treasure.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, cool. And luckily I didn't come across, like, any more after that.
Yeah.
But you'll also be walking down the hall in a lamp thing. It's called like a will-o-wisps, and it drops down from the ceiling with like no save. There's no way to avoid it. It'll just drop down, start a battle.
Yeah.
Whoops. But some of the tropes that it kind of leans into a bit heavily, actually, is you'd think that a guarded door would have something behind it, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Typically.
Yeah, most of the time in this dungeon, no, it's just more traps. So
booby traps.
Oh yeah, so one door I went to enter, it had an enemy called a Portalgeist. It's a possessed door.
Nice.
that summons more enemies. So you kill it, you go into the room, it's an armory. And you're like, cool, it's an armory. And on the floor, there's a statue out of place, and you can slide it around. So you slide it into place. Slimes will fall down. They're called goop. I think they're just like goops or something like that. But they drop down from the ceiling and will start like mumbling about trying to get you. Then at the back of the room, there's a bunch of suits of armor, but one's missing a shield. There's a decorative shield on the wall. So you grab the decorative shield, put it on the suits of armor. All the suits of armor attack you. So yeah, it's subverting the tropes of like, ooh, all these puzzles, you're having fun. Ooh, yeah, no. Oh, another thing was, so you go up to a guarded treasure room, and it has 2 guards out the front. you talk to them in your disguise. And they're like, yeah, this is the treasure room. No one's allowed in there, really. So, kind of go away. You talk to the other guy. He's like, what's up with you guys? What's the password? And I'm trying to, like, figure out, like, what the password might be. And then it just, like, disappears. And they're like, correct. Silence is the password. And they let you in.
And so you were thinking about it, and then it was just like, okay.
Yeah. And my thought was, it's a silent protagonist, so, like, he doesn't go, like, or, so he would just be stock silent, he thought. And then they just let him in.
Yeah.
You go into the treasure room, and there's a bunch of treasure everywhere. It's nice and pretty. But the thing that's sparkling on the wall, what's that? You go up to it, it's a beautiful necklace. And you grab it, and one of your party members says, yeah, this is very obviously a trap. And Kid's like, nah, it's fine, and takes it off the wall. And, like, the choices you have for grabbing it are, like, snatch it off the wall, take it off delicately, take it off, like, nervously, and then leave it alone. I went with take it off nervously. So, but yeah, you go to reach for it. One of your party members, the magician guy, says, this is a very obvious trap. And Kid's like, it's fine. We'll just be careful. And takes it off. The wall flips and you end up in a cage. And the scientist there is just like, cool. Come on out. Lets you out of the cage. And that's where you fight the neon bulb. And she's like, yeah, I'm not being kind. I'm testing something. Fight this. So you do, and then she lets you go. And then you free, like, this weird lamb thing called, like, Pip or something. Like, you unlock his cage, and he's like, cool, I'll escape later. I'll see you guys later. Bye. And you're like, okay. And you leave. Yeah, so you journey through castle, getting into all kinds of trouble. You eventually find the password that you need to move on. You move on, come across the old guy who explains the situation. Then you come across the general and his cat friend. The cat friend's name is Lynx, of course. In the PS1 version, his sprite kind of looks like Phoenix Wright because his hair, or his hat, looks like Phoenix Wright's hair a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's weird. And so you fight him, but it turns out it was just a shadow. Kid, in an act of desperation, takes the general's daughter hostage. And then you slowly walk your way through the castle. The cat poisons, or throws a poisoned dagger at Kid, nicks her, she falls off a cliff, and then the cat guy starts, like, walking up to you and is just like, something, you're the destroyer of time, or the assassin of time, you're the Chrono Trigger, and then you fall off the cliff.
Ooh, throwback.
Like, I was like, okay, cool, but at the same time, silly way to do it, because what it does is, like, the classic PS1 thing, black background, character stock still in the middle, kind of wobbling a bit, because, visions or whatever, as he slowly walks toward the camera, saying, face the facts, you're the assassination of time, you're the Chrono Trigger. It's, like, all caps. But you fall off the cliff, pass out, wake up in a boat village. Kid succumbs to the poison, or kind of passes out. You have to go get the anti-venom from a Hydra called Hydra Humor. But all the Hydras are dead in this timeline. So you have to go to your timeline and kill them there. And as you're doing it, like, you're getting warnings here, there, and everywhere by, like, the dwarves that are in the Hydra area, saying, you kill the Hydra, you kill this forest. And you're like, fuck it, I barely know this girl. Let's kill a forest. So,
what?
Yeah. You kill the Hydra, all of the dwarves simultaneously fuck off. Because they're like, well, the forest is dead.
It's too scary for me, I'm out.
Yeah. But, and that's about as far as I got. So we gave her the anti-venom. She's doing fine and whatnot. Things are going okay. I'm about to, like, go back to town and be directed somewhere else. Who knows?
Yeah. So you're gonna play more? And
yes, I intend to continue streaming it until I finish it.
Nice. Oh yeah, you were talking about that.
Yes, because I do not intend to stream the next game I'm playing for the show, or the game after that, but the games after that, maybe? We'll see where I get. Hello. I'm just going to pop in the middle of this right here to say, oops, some technical difficulties happened, and So there's a bit of a jarring thing here. So I figured, hey, why not pop in the middle here, explain it, and slip in a cheeky ad break just in case, so that it doesn't need to be put anywhere else. There we go. Anywho, continuing on from the break. Yeah. I guess just to keep things moving, let's go ahead and move into the combat.
Yeah.
So the combat is, especially in comparison to, say, Chrono Trigger, or a lot of RPGs, it is kind of complex.
Really?
Yes. So the kind of process is you select an enemy to attack, and then you choose your attack type. Do you just attack? Do you do an elemental thing? Do you do a thing? And you have 3 different strengths of attack with different percentiles to hit the enemy. So you'll have the number 1 type of attack, which is the weakest, will have an 80 to 90% chance to hit. Then the number 2, which is a bit stronger, will have a 70 to 80% chance, and then the number 3, the strongest one, will have a 60 to 70% chance. And as you land successful hits with different things, the percentage for all 3 of them goes up, so you'll be more likely to hit. But you have stamina, right? So all in one quote-unquote attack, you can hit the enemy 6 to 8 times, something like that, or 4 to 6 times, depending on the number of things you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually do different combinations and everything, which is really cool. So you can do, my favorite thing to do is follow the thing to get the percentile up until you have 1 bit of stamina left, and then you do an elemental attack, which adds even bigger damage, kind of thing. Because even to be able to do an elemental attack, you have to build up your gauge a certain number level. So you have elemental slots that are broken up into different levels, and you get more elemental slots and more of those levels as you get more star levels. But you assign the stuff to those slots, and the more successful attacks you do, the more the more level you gain, so the more opportunities of attack in elemental form you can do. So that's putting it kind of simply. Then there is the elemental attacks. So each character has an innate color. Each enemy has an innate color or an innate element. But it's best to just go with innate color. So and it kind of goes Pokemon style. So red and blue go against each other. Green and yellow go against each other. Black and white go against each other. So they're strong against each other, kind of thing. It's not very round robin, but that's generally if you're attacking the enemy, you'll want to use the opposite color of what they are. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening. No, sorry.
I just have to check in.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Then there is the field effect. The field effect is a 3-ringed circle thing that each turn changes. So if all 3 things within it are the same color, then that specific color has a boost of 33%. If there's only one of that color in the ring, then it's a 11% boost or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. But it's weird as hell. Did you hear what I said about the dark end screen?
I don't think so.
Okay. We'll save that for a little bit down the line. Then, to circle back. The percentile values have the XCOM issue, where you can have a 95% chance to hit the enemy and miss.
Damn.
So, yeah. That's frustrating. But, yeah, that's just the XCOM problem. Happens a lot. So, circling back to what might have been lost in the great fucking internet disaster that always happens. The dark end screen. So when you die, it discusses how, like, you weren't born. You didn't get a chance to exist and whatnot.
That's it.
Oh, it's like 5 sentences or something like that. That pretty much boil down to, you fucked up. Surge doesn't exist anymore. Whoops.
There's one for the history books, not.
Then, another thing that got lost was I did mention how the first thing I did when we traveled back to the home world was I went and saw the girl from the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. Just
to see what her reaction was. And basically it was, wow, you just kind of disappeared. Cool magic trick. And then leaves it at that. It was kind of disappointing, actually. But a lot of questions came to mind when we teleported across, because when you teleport or cross dimensions, you bring your party along with you. It's a weird animation where, like, they fade out, a pre-rendered cutscene plays, and then they fade back in. But my question was, like, she was, like, really close to you on that beach when you first came over. Why didn't she come with you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probably because she's not dead. But, anywho. Alright, so a lot of characters are locked behind New Game Plus, supposedly.
So you're gonna have to beat it once to really, like, get a look at them.
Pretty much, yeah. And also, it seems that the game can kind of change fairly drastically depending on your choices of what you decide to do.
Really?
Yes. So, because I like to keep a guide around, but luckily for this game, because of me streaming it, I haven't really needed the guide. But the guide doesn't help a whole lot anyway. Because supposedly I could have stayed in the other world to kill the Hydra. Because supposedly, I guess there was still a Hydra in that world somewhere. But the game heavily suggests that what you're supposed to do is hop to your world and then kill the Hydra in your world.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of suggesting that it's a lot better to do it there, but in general, it's still not. Because as you're going through, like I said earlier, you're heavily warned that you're going to kill the forest. But you do it anyway. Supposedly you can, I guess, leave Kid to potentially die, I guess. Then, since I kept with Kid, she's super rude, by the way, when she comes out of waking up from being poisoned. So rude.
I bet.
Well, so, pretty much everyone, like, the Kid that kind of joins you to help save her, who has a hilarious fucking special move where he, like, swims up in the air and then just, like, dives into the enemy. It's called Headbutt. It's ridiculous, but I love it. It's so dumb. She's like, oh, did you helped, like, save me, right? And he's like, oh, I didn't do that much. And she's like, well, thank you for nothing then. He's like, Jesus.
So what if you're gonna be modest, then fuck you.
Well, yeah, but, like, that's really mean. He helped save your life. Then there's a couple other things where she's just, like, super rude for no reason. But anywho, like, one of the kids, like, comes and steals her stuff and then, like, fucks off for some reason. It's either attention or something. And you're given, like, 3 opportunities to maybe chase after her.
Mm-hmm.
But you basically just kind of brush it off and you're just like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So, some last things, I think. Background info is locked behind a visual novel that is coming with the remaster, but it was not at all provided, of course, with the original game. It was a Japan exclusive, I believe.
Damn.
Supposedly, once you get to New Game Plus, there are 12 endings.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's something that made me a little bit sad. Traveling the ocean is done automatically, so that level of exploration is kind of taken right out of your hands. So you can only travel on land and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, so you can change the names of characters in this game. I didn't change any of the names this time, but that was mostly because the game pre-established many of the characters' names beforehand.
Did they?
You know, yeah. So with Chrono Trigger, the moment a character is introduced, before like any mention of their name or anything, it kind of cuts you off and it's just like, name the character. And you name the character. In this, you kind of interact with and kind of get to know the character sometimes before it's like, now they're a party member, you want to change their name? It's like, no. Like the boat kid, before he becomes a party member, like you're introduced to him, there's some discussions and everything. You go on a small journey with the guy, and only once he becomes a party member is it just like, want to change his name now? And you're just like, no. Why do you have these characters introduce themselves and then you ask if I want to change their name?
A little nickname.
Yeah. One of the party members that kind of joins you is a fairy that you just kind of come across in the Hydra Marsh that's about to be eaten by a weird thing. And she's just like, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm about to get eaten, help. You kill the thing, and then she's like, cool, could you get me home, please? And you're like, sure. So she joins the party and whatnot, and you're like, why are you letting me name her? You already established a name for her. But yeah, that was kind of my... Oh, and then there's very unsubtle foreshadowing. When the cat guy is coming up to him, it's just like flashes of things. And it's just like, love this lack of subtlety. But yeah, that is it. Any final questions?
I do not have any.
No? Do you think I covered it fairly thoroughly?
I think you covered it. It's pretty interesting, I think.
I'm looking forward to continuing it. I know that from here, it just gets weirder.
Dude, I'm sure. You're gonna have to update us once you finish it.
I will. So I was scrolling through like the guide a little bit just to see like if I had missed anything.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And I saw that there's a picture. One of the characters is a fucking luchador. So, yep.
Nice.
So, we will figure out what the fuck that is sometime. Maybe. If I even come across them. Who knows? Anywho.
Yeah, I'm fucking, falling asleep, so...
Well, it's your turn now, so fucking slap your face and get ready, because Ghostwire Tokyo time, baby!
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo!
Yeah, get pumped, get hyped.
Do you have any questions about it?
Some things I had heard. It does have a vaguely convoluted combat system.
Not in my opinion.
And a lot of it is roof hopping.
You can. I have done very little roof hopping, but that's just my playthrough specifically. I have seen a lot of roof hopping in that game, but I choose to go on the ground, and because you're literally exploring Shibuya, and it's like the coolest fucking thing ever. Like you could go anywhere you want in Shibuya. You can go on the rooftops, you can go on the ground, you could just but I stay on the ground mostly because you can find dogs and feed them, and they give you prizes, and I love it so much.
Nice.
But I just want to start off. This is one of the best games I have ever played in a very, very long time.
Oh yeah?
Just in personal opinion, lately I haven't really been getting into games as much as I used to be because they're just not the same,
Yeah,
but
I get that because a lot of games nowadays tend to be kind of samey, so it's very hard to get invested in them.
Yeah, but I mean,
especially when you have such little time.
I'm not sure if it's because I just hyped myself up so much for it that my mind is telling me to love it, but
it's not that bad of a thing if that is the case.
Yeah, well, no, it's a great game. I don't think the combat is convoluted at all. I think it's really fucking cool, and it's very unique. I've never seen anything like it before in a video game, especially a Bethesda game. And I play a lot of Bethesda games.
So I will say, Bethesda only published it from what I saw. They didn't actually.
They didn't actually make it, but
in fact, from what I heard, the creator of that game, who is he? He's a famous guy.
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because he's like famous in like JRPGs and shit. So
he's like well known.
Oh yeah, like he hasn't done stuff in quite a while. So it's developed by Tango Gameworks.
Yes.
Shinji Mikami. Who is famous for Resident Evil.
Really? He made Resident Evil.
He made Resident Evil, The Evil Within, Dino Crisis, and Resi 4.
Okay. So
there we go.
This game's not really I wouldn't put it in a horror game aspect, which is what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
At first, but like there are times where I'm like, holy shit, that's kind of scary, but it's just like a not, jump scary or whatever the fuck, but it's like kind of like the character design is pretty creepy and like that's really cool,
Yeah.
But it's like
when I heard it's not super scary. It's just kind of like
it's just an action, like you're just fighting demons basically, and But I would honestly say that from my opinion, it's a mix of Mob Psycho and like elements of other games, if that makes sense.
Kinda, yeah, I
like,
can kind of see that.
It's very Mob Psycho in the fact that all the side quests require you to help spirits, and like you're fighting like other ghosts, like you're fighting ghosts and stuff, and I think it's really cool. Like you're actually like playing as a detective, solving these spirits like mysteries and like why they died. So you're going back in this world. In this world, you're the only person alive. For some reason, I haven't beaten it yet. I don't know. This game is long. I put in 30 hours already into it.
Jesus, really?
And I have not beaten it. There is so much shit to do, and that's probably why I like it so much. Is because I haven't played a game to where there's so much to do that you just kind of lose yourself in it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that, but from what I heard, it was only like the main story is only like 6 hours or something like that.
Yeah, so I did spoil myself on that. The story is not very long, but that's where I've been taking my time doing other things.
Yeah, and
really exploring the city. I'm finding all these dogs. You can talk to cats. You can do all these spirit quests. You actually legitimately feel like a detective solving mysteries, and it's like very Mob Psycho because you also have like these psychic powers, and it's really cool. Like you have a detective living inside you, and like it's a constant struggle of like you like go back and forth. It's really like the dialogue is very funny. Like this game is super hilarious, but also very serious. Which I honestly really like it, and like I really get a sense of Japanese style stuff in it. And after playing the demo, which is like the visual novel, there's cool little Easter eggs that connect to it, which is really cool. I found that really cool.
Nice.
I honestly can't say I've done a lot of the story because there's just so much you can do in the overworld.
Yeah, I can see getting because in open world games like that, I tend to get sidetracked a lot.
I don't know really how much of the story I could spoil, so I'm staying away from the story because I don't know if you're going to play it or not. So,
well, whether or not I want to play it depends mostly on this question. Well, first, I do want to say that the fact that you got so hyped for it and it's actually met your expectations is a really good thing.
Right?
Because most of the time when you get that hyped, you either end up slightly disappointed or you just kind of end up a bit neutral. So for you to be that hyped and still be like super happy with it, that's good. That's great.
Yeah, so it's not often that
so far.
It's not often that I get really hyped about a game I know nothing about and it actually meets my expectations.
Oh yeah.
Like so normally it's like a game that I already have been introduced to and it's just like a new entry in the series that I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck it, this is going to be great." But like this was altogether a new game and I'm like, "Man, this looks fucking insane." And no, it's one of the best games I've played all year in my opinion. Like all year, past year, whatever.
So yeah, whether or not I want to play it relies most heavily on the question of combat.
Okay.
So when you see the trailers, the way that the combat is kind of portrayed is these like hand symbols and whatnot.
Yeah.
To to fight the ghosts. And the camera is always in a bit of a weird perspective because I'm guessing it's a first-person game.
It's a first-person game.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird perspective, especially in the cameras. Like, it looks like the hands take up most of the screen, but it's, you know, the specific hand signals. And I was curious whether or not it was like just a cycle of animation that it was going through, or if each like hand gesture was mapped to a different button to like create combinations or whatnot. And
okay.
You posed that it was probably similar to BioShock.
Yeah.
In that, like, you take certain things and you have different like abilities.
So I was actually kind of right in that aspect. It is kind of like the telekinesis or whatever, like the psychic powers you get in BioShock. Yeah. But in this game, it's the only thing you have besides your bow. You do get a bow and arrow, which is really cool. You can use it for stealth.
Nice.
But okay, so the hands really do not take up that much room at all. Like, it's mostly the overworld that you see, and
so it's more like a standard first-person kind of shooter-esque perspective.
Yeah, and you actually, there's only one button to attack, and that's the right trigger for PS5, and it's very adaptive. You know, like it like has that like drawback, whatever, to make you really feel like you're like attacking, whatever.
Yeah.
But each hand sign is its own attack.
Okay. So how do you choose which one you're using?
So you use R1 to choose which one you're using, and then you press R2 to fire that, you know, that attack. And then you have stuff like Talisman, which is like you can stun them, you can drop like a smoke bomb to sneak around more. You can literally create a bush out of nothing to hide in the middle of the street if you wanted to. It's really cool.
Okay.
And then you have a bow. Because I will say there's points in times where you will lose your powers and you have nothing, but that's where they give you the bow to where you can kind of like have some sort of attack moves that you can use to get through the game. And like that's what I love though, is like this game is actually very challenging. Like, I haven't really played a game to where like it's so easy, you know? Or like I haven't played a game that's I'm actually having a difficult time with, I should say. Like, it's actually challenging to get through it, and I'm taking my time with it, and it's not so easy that I beat it in a week, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
But, no, like, the combat is just, like, there's so much you could do, and there's lots of upgrades, too. And you can fly, you can grapple, like, onto the roofs of places. Well, technically, you're grappling onto a spirit, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really don't think the combat's very convoluted. Like, it's some of the most unique shit I've seen in a game in a long time. Like, you don't see shit like this anywhere else. Like, it is a lot like BioShock.
Yeah.
But they found their own way to make it, like, very unique and very immersive. And each power that you get has, like, its own different style, its own different way of, like, defeating the enemies, which makes it very cool. Like, depending on what battle situation you're in is depending, like, you can choose what power you want to use for that situation, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's really cool. But it really doesn't, like, take up a lot of the screen, stuff like that. It's just, like... And with the PS5, like, the controller really gives you that immersive feeling.
Okay. So then, I guess the next two questions... can you turn off the PS5 stuff?
I do believe you can, yeah. I think there's an option for that.
Okay, cool. Because personally, while it's cool and, you know, immersive and everything, I worry about the health of the controller every time.
Yeah, no, dude, I get it. Like, that's why, like, I barely tap the triggers. It still works that way, but I barely tap them just in case. But I just really do love that immersive feeling. Like, there's times where, like, a lot of this game is you doing hand signs to, like, cure a curse on somebody, or, like, cleanse a gate and, like, consume all the mist that's in the area so you can advance in the game, stuff like that. Like, it, like, reacts to that shit, and it's really cool. And then they have, like, this, like, you touch the middle pad, and you, like, draw, like, a hand sign yourself, and then the character does it, and then it's, like, really cool. Super immersive.
How accurate is it?
It's actually pretty accurate. You don't even have to use the middle pad if you don't want to. You can just use the right analog stick to draw the pattern.
Yeah, I just wanted to know because sometimes, like with the touchscreen stuff, sometimes it's not super accurate. But I know from like the intro demo for the PS5 that the touchpad in the middle is super accurate. I just was wondering if with the game how accurate was it?
Yeah, for me it's like pretty accurate. Like I literally haven't seen any trouble with it. It's really cool when I do it. So
nice. So now sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna talk about like the enemies and stuff.
Okay, well this is actually kind of related to that. So my question, the next question that kind of will form a bit more of my opinion, is how populated does the world feel? Seeing as everyone's gone to the Rapture.
So, oddly enough, the world, for me, feels very populated.
Yeah?
You can...
Now, I'm not talking, like, enemy population, of course. I'm talking more, like, interactable people.
Okay, so as far as that goes, there's not much. But there is a lot of side quests, which is spirits you find around the world. So I guess you can consider that like quite a bit of interaction. Like, I never go bored basically with this game. Like, I'm always excited to hop back into it.
Well, it's more the desolate, lonely feeling is kind of more the question there.
Oddly enough, I really don't feel lonely because people left their clothes everywhere. So, like, you have that sense of people were here, and I literally find myself walking around the city, adventuring the city, checking out these places, and, like, seeing all these clothes everywhere, and it's like, man, I wonder what they were doing when they disappeared, you know?
Well, obviously most of them were just walking in the middle of the street.
Well, yeah, but it's actually very, very populated with animals, which is kind of, it's kind of sad, but it's, like, very cool because... Like these cats and dogs, they actually help you advance the story and like the game, and like you can like buy dog food at like stores. And okay, so spirits run shops around the city,
right?
And they all have like their own unique, cool little dialogue. And the detective inside you, like they keep going back and forth and stuff, and it's like really funny. So you do have these like spirits like all around the world that you could talk to. But as far as like running around like fighting enemies, it's mostly barren. It's mostly empty. It's just you, the enemies, and then wherever you need to go. But
yeah, the thing that first kind of popped into mind when you described like, oh, he's not so lonely because there's all these clothes around. All I could think of was like the character like gathering up clothes into like making a clothes snowman, or putting the clothes on items. You'd be like, I'm not alone. I have kind of people.
I did have like initial expectations for it when the game first started, because there was a lot of people, like actual physical NPCs around at the start of the game, but then once you actually get into the gameplay, there's absolutely no one. So like that kind of like was a little bit misleading. Because it made me think that, like, you know, throughout the story, like, people are going to slowly disappear or not. People are already gone. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, yeah, you were about to mention the enemies.
Yeah,
so
the enemies.
How are the enemies?
So, the main enemy is kind of like Slender Man.
Yes, I saw that a lot in the marketing. It's a very Slender Man-esque guy with like an umbrella.
Yeah, but so the enemies are supposed to represent demon forms of ill intention, basically. Okay. Like, they're the manifestation of people who have died from anger or still have regrets or, you know, stuff like that. Like the little the school girls with no head are like demons that have been manifested from girls who had anxiety and troubles living and like were bullied and stuff like that. So like each character has its own little background, and they actually reflect that in the game, in the overworld, which is really cool. Like, they'll, like, laugh at you, or, you know, you can kind of hear them talking, which is kind of funny. Or, like, I don't know, it's pretty unique. And, like, this guy isn't, the big tall guy isn't Slender Man, but he's just, like,
Just looks a lot like him.
Yeah, his background is basically like an overworked businessman.
Yeah, which is very common in Japan.
Yeah, that manifested into a demon. Or they call it visitors, because they're visitors from another world.
So with that in mind, what is the enemy variety like then?
Oh my god, there are so fucking many enemies. It starts off with just, you know, like, probably about 3 basic enemies.
Yeah.
But as you unlock more of the overworld, you will just, like, randomly come across some new-ass motherfucker that you've never seen before, and you're like, what the fuck do I do? Like, how the fuck do I deal with this shit? And, like, you learn the hard way by them kicking your fucking ass. And it's like, but each enemy has their own cool little way of being killed. Like, each one's kind of, like, weak to a different power.
Right.
So you just kind of, like, have to, like, guess how to really, like, deal with the situation. And you can do everything stealth. Like, they have this whole, like, if you can manage to sneak up behind them, you can immediately cleanse them and, like, erase them from the world kind of thing, which is really cool. And or you can use your bow that you get pretty early on, and you can just, like, snipe them. And it's great because they have ragdoll physics. So you just, like, I just like standing on, like, a truck or something and just, like, sniping them motherfuckers, and they just drop like flies. It's the funniest thing. And the further you get in the game, the more powerful you get, so it's just crazy. But the more powerful enemies come. Like, there is no shortage of enemy variety. Like, you will find a lot of cool shit in there.
Okay. So, I will say, let's go ahead and keep it story light, because I think that there's a decent chance. But I guess that is kind of also based kind of on these next 3 bits. Do you recommend it?
Absolutely.
Knowing me, do you think I would like it?
I think you should give it a try, because you might like, as far as the characters go, I think you would really enjoy the connection between it all, and like just adventuring Shibuya, because there's a lot of cool little stuff in there that I think you would like.
Okay.
And, like, if you're worried about, like, enemy variety, it's got you covered. There's a lot to go around. There's a lot of bosses that you find, and they're really cool. As far as, like, fighting, there's a big variety there, and you can upgrade everything. Yeah, and then, of course, there's, like, tons and tons of side quests that you can do, and, like, there's, like, I didn't even mention the collectibles. There is a fuck ton of collectibles. Like, oh my god. There's so many.
Yeah, so keeping it kind of general, with how short the story is, and of course knowing that you haven't completed it yet, seeing as you've been doing a ton of side stuff.
Right.
Is the main story worth the price of admission? On its own, without the side stuff?
I do think so. Like, I am extremely curious as to what I'm in for next. And they started this game off very cleanly, which is what I love in a game, is when you actually start the game off very intriguing. You know, like, it's hard to start a game and actually really stay into it.
Yeah.
But right from the get-go, like, this game, like, really got me into it. Not because I was, like, so hyped about it and, like, I was determined, but, like, the moment I started this game, like, they really threw you into, like, so this shit's going down, you're in this shit, and, like, you're like, holy shit, like, I want to know more. Like, what is happening?
So is it that you want to know more because it didn't like build anything up beforehand, or is it that like it gave you enough context beforehand, but there's still like a big mystery to kind of get into?
It gave you enough context, but there's still like a big mystery, and that's, so far from what I'm seeing, that's basically the whole game, is unraveling this really big mystery. And like I said, like you feel like you're the detective solving this mystery and, you know, saving the city or whatever.
Okay.
But
yeah, so
like
cool.
Yeah, just like a rough thing, like you're this guy, got possessed by a ghost. There's this demon guy, you know, you're trying to stop him from what he's doing.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretty basic, but if you actually play it, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm just being very vague about it.
Yeah, because like, while I did, you know, explain technically the first 5 hours of Chrono Cross, it's still like a 30-hour RPG, so I spoiled probably nothing major.
Well, yeah, like hearing what you said about it, like if I went into it, I'd still probably forget a lot about what you said. So.
Well, yeah, because most of the things that happen in those games seems to be fucking bonkers. So.
Yeah, and like you never.
Of course, you're gonna forget it.
You never really know how it all connects into each other, so it's all still like actually like pretty new.
Yeah, but with the game so short, and even though again you haven't finished it, it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of easy to do some major spoilers with this, especially since it's a very new game.
Yeah.
Some people might be just like, "Oh, what's their opinion on it?" Don't want to give too much away. But, so, I guess, what are some highlight things that you would like to kind of point out as kind of a potential seller for this game?
So, I said this a couple times before, the character variety is very nice. Like, it really gets into Japanese history and folklore, nice. And all of the enemies and characters are based off of that. And it's really cool because you can, like, collect them and you can read about them. And a lot of them, like there's so much backstory going on outside of the actual story. If you adventure the city, you will find a bunch of random shit that it's like, you will find out what was happening at that time before all the shit went down, you know? So, like, nice. It's really fun to adventure and find out what these people were doing, what these spirits were doing. Like, it's really cool.
Cool.
And another highlight is definitely the combat. Like, I really love the combat. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I don't really know how it would be convoluted or where you would be getting that, so...
Okay, so... To be fair, a lot of the information I've gotten about this game is I watched the Zero Punctuation review on it, and his joke about the combat is that you basically make a finger gun and you shoot the ghosts to death.
I mean, that is true for the wind power that you get.
Yeah, but that's kind of where that's coming from, and I would say that the combat in, say, like Chrono Cross, for me, wouldn't be much of a selling point, because without any instruction at all, it is so confusing. Because when you first enter a battle, you're just like, cool, you know, let's see how combat is in this game, and you're presented with a list of numbers and you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So it's good that you can list the combat for this game as a selling point, especially since that's kind of the main combat or the main gameplay loop.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. You can use the arrow, you can use talisman, you can use like powers and stuff like that, so it's really cool.
Yeah. And then from what I hear, you can just skip it all by running on the rooftops.
Yeah, apparently. I don't choose to do that. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff by not doing that, but I don't choose to do that.
You'll double back eventually.
Yeah. Like I know
it's
there's
all in the way that you play, of course.
I know there's the option, and I always see it and I always consider it, but I'm like, what's down that alley? I kind of want to know what's down that alley. So I go down the alley instead of going up on the rooftop, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of what you get out of a game is what you put into a game, and it's the way that you play. So if you're trying your best to, like, break the game, then of course you're not going to have a whole lot of fun, unless that's kind of the only thing that you derive joy from, is breaking shit. But,
but
some people do.
The last highlight, really, that I would use as a selling point is the characters. Like, the main character, the detective, and even the enemies, like, they are all super cool. The enemies have really great dialogue. The main character and the detective are super funny, but also, like, super, like, serious at the same time, because it's a game. You gotta, you know. But, like, the things you do around the city, like, they joke about it and stuff like that, and it's, like, super hilarious. And it's like you're watching an anime almost. And it's really cool. Like, I'm really loving the main character and the detective. Like, it's a lot like Mob Psycho in, like, the pupil and the teacher, you know?
Yeah. So I guess my final thing, and this might be silly, but was it worth the kind of background drama that happened?
Background drama?
So, if I remember correctly, and I could be completely wrong, of course, because I'm an idiot, but supposedly, at one point, there was confusion as to whether or not this game would be made at all, because, like, the entire development staff quit. At one point.
I didn't hear anything about that. I don't know if it's this game or not, but I didn't personally hear anything about it.
I think it's this game. I could be completely wrong. If I am, fucking email in, please. I'm tired of the spam.
I mean, you might be right, because you're more up to date on news shit than I am, but...
Yeah, but I had heard that, I believe it was this game, that, like, people were excited about it, but when it appeared during the, I believe, PS5, like, announcement trailer, or announcement showcase, people were kind of surprised, because the, like, you know, the scuttlebutt was that the director and, like, most everyone on the team, like, quit.
Do you think maybe that was Pragmata?
No, because Pragmata's that the one that looked like a Kojima game, but isn't a Kojima game, right? That's the one with the weird astronaut guy.
Yeah, and, like, the world gets all twisted, and there's a little girl and a cat.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Ghostwire Tokyo.
It honestly might have been, but if there was something like that, like, I'm glad they did follow through with it, because this game is great in my opinion.
Well, I guess, can you tell that there might have been drama? Like, does it feel like anything was cut out? Does it feel like it was, like, maybe rushed in certain areas?
I know, I really do not. Like, something I haven't seen in a game recently is, like, this game really does not feel rushed at all.
Well, that's good.
And, like, it's sad to say, but, like, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3 felt a little bit rushed playing it.
It did.
I'm not even gonna lie, Tales of Arise felt very rushed playing it.
Yeah, it kind of does,
like, compared to the other Tales games, which literally could go on for hours, like days, hours, weeks, whatever, like... But, yeah, like, just a lot of games that I played recently have felt very rushed, but this one, I really don't get that feeling. Like, it's very, like, steady flowing, like, there's enough to keep you going, there's enough story, like, space in between the story, and, like, it really just, like, keeps you intrigued into it. Like, every time I pick it up, I'm not disappointed, for sure.
Well, good. Is there any other bits that you would like to discuss about it, or is that about it?
Other than the fact that the world is super fucking cool. Like, it's not a horror game, but it does have that spooky aspect, which is what I was expecting. And
so it has a spooky atmosphere, but it isn't.
I really love it.
Amnesia.
Because I will spoil something, like, at times you do go to another world. You've got, like, 2 worlds and stuff. And
oh, wow. theming. Yay.
Yeah, like, there's the spirit world, and then there's the human world. And you go in between them, depending on, like, what side quest or whatever the fuck you're doing. But, like, the world design is just so beautiful. Like, they nailed it to a T. Like, there's not a time when I'm going through this and fighting enemies that I'm like, man, I gotta stop and look at this world for a second. Like, holy shit. And, like, even the stuff you do in the world affects the world itself, which is really cool. And it's, like, permanently affected. And it's really cool. Like, if you do a side quest that, you know, makes you do something with the world, then it's permanently changed afterwards, and it's really cool.
Nice.
Right. But that's about it. Like, this game is great. I highly recommend it.
All right. Well, I think I'll check it out eventually. I'll probably wait for sure until you have finished it.
Yeah.
And then I will kind of see if my interest gets piqued.
I can give you a definitive... Because it's all about the ending, you know? Like...
Oh, yeah, a lot of times an ending can absolutely ruin a game.
Because, yeah, like, take the Dark Anthology series. Like, it starts off great, ends shitty as fuck.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. I played the first two, absolutely trash.
Oh. Okay, so I guess with that, then...
Sorry to spoil it, but, like, I'm just, like, giving an example.
It's fine. They're coming out with the Quarry soon. It's going to be fine.
Which looks amazing.
It does. Anyway, let's kind of move on to the next segment. So the next segment is... So what else were you playing? Or have you just been so engrossed in Ghostwire Tokyo that nothing was able to pull you away?
Basically. Like, I'm not even like... The only other thing that I've been kind of doing is I got one of the Danganronpas for the Vita. Or not the Vita. I already have it for the Vita. The Switch? Yeah, the Switch.
Yeah. So
I've been kind of playing that one. It looks really good. They remastered it for that, so it looks pretty cool. But I haven't played much of it. It's mostly just been Ghostwire Tokyo. So
all day, every day, Ghostwire Tokyo.
I seriously haven't played anything else besides that.
Well, as for me, since I've been limiting, my chrono doses to only when I'm streaming, I've had a lot of extra free time, which has been nice. So in my free time, although now technically it's going to kind of switch, but in my free time, I've been playing Lego Jurassic World. So...
Yeah, I see that you're on that sometimes.
Yeah, so, well, not anymore, because I platinumed it, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, a game I've replayed like 7 times, I've finally, finished, and I can just kind of set it aside until I decide I'm gonna go finish the fucking PC version, the one that I've had the longest. But that is technically part of my backlog update, is because I had bought it on a whim when it was on sale, I believe.
Right.
Like I do most things. That's how I ended up with fucking Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5, Red Dead Redemption, all those games. I buy them on a whim. But I was like, Lego Star Wars is coming out. I need a game to just chill and listen to podcasts. And Lego games are perfect for that, because they have... Once you finish the main part of the game, you will have so many collectibles to get.
Yeah, like, with Lego games, there's that sense of completion.
Yes.
Like, you feel good getting shit done in that game, and, like, it's really nice to just lay back and just... Like you said, like, listen to a podcast and chill out.
Oh, yeah, so the podcast of choice for me while I was playing it was, well, a little bit of many things. So I listened to some Auntie Donna. They're filming a podcast in a moving car saga, which was funny.
Will they just go to Walmart and back?
Kind of, actually. So in it, what they do is they decide to set up the ground rules of, like, you know, what they can and can't do while in the Moving Car podcast, and sort of formed their own small little government in the process. But basically all it is that they set like 4 different locations. One to get a credit card, one to go to a car wash, one to get McDonald's, and then I think one was pretty much just like go somewhere else. Oh, to drop off a package. And that's it. So they just kind of talk while they did that in a moving car.
Nice.
But hilarity ensued. Then I listened to the Plumbing the Death Star live shows, which were hilarious and great. If you are of, I guess, a delicacy, you know, you don't like crass things, then maybe steer clear. But if you want to hear some fucked up things, Sans Pants Radio is the place for you. They will go into weird topics. Like, literally their last episode that they posted on Sunday was, what if the ocean had a skin like a custard?
What the absolute hell?
Yes. So, while you are now pondering what the hell that's about, the last thing I listened to, and I listened to this mostly, was It's Probably Not Aliens, where the host from NerdSync and his friend discuss the real-life history and actual things behind the topics that are discussed on Ancient Aliens. Which is a very cool podcast, very funny, where they're talking about how Ancient Aliens takes all these like minor things and twists them, and then they'll take the things that they take and then twist it further for no reason, because they can, or because they're running out of content, because they've been running for 16 seasons.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the funny thing is they've done about, I'm on episode like 26 or something like that, or 24, somewhere around there, and they've only covered the first like 3 episodes of Ancient Aliens.
Damn.
Yeah, so they're gaining so much content from Ancient Aliens, and they have 16 seasons of that shit to get through. But yeah, that was kind of my deal while I was platinuming Lego Jurassic World. There were some minor annoyances, because there was a few things that you have... There's only like 2 things that you need a modified dinosaur to do. And it's annoying. Because there's a thing where you need... one of them is you just need to have all the dinosaurs unlocked, so you do free play and everything. But the other one is you have to like genetically modify a Triceratops or something to have a T-Rex head, so that it can yell really hard at amber so it breaks. So
what the hell?
Yeah, it's the only way that you can get that one red brick. I will say, probably one of the least satisfying, like, endings to a Lego game. So some Lego games will like have some bonus levels, like the original Lego Star Wars had the not the Indiana Jones level. Maybe? I know that one of them had the Indiana Jones level. One of them had the first level of Lego Star Wars 2 and whatnot. So, yeah. But this one, when you complete it, you get a bonus level, but it's one of those semi-weird ones where you just have to get like 1,000,000 studs.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of disappointing, but overall fine. I'm happy I completed it. I deleted it, and now I have more games to work on. But part of that is some of my games down the line are part of my backlog, so I'm using this podcast to my advantage.
Might as well.
Yeah. The final game I played it today. I got it today. It's Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Keeping the Lego train going.
That ties into the next thing.
Exactly. That will be the game I'm playing next week. Some preliminary thoughts, I guess, since I've finally dipped into a game before the episode's actually supposed to, before I'm supposed to, like a naughty little child. I like it. It's good. It's near. So far, it's near what I would say you're feeling about Ghostwire Tokyo. You know, the hype. But, you know, it's actually meeting it for me.
Nice.
Kind of thing. So that's good.
Yeah.
Although I think mine's more prolonged because I pre-ordered it.
You waited so long.
Yes. I pre-ordered it January 21st, 2021. Like, when it first went open for pre-orders, I was like, yeah, I'll pre-order it, because I was expecting it to come out in 2021. But then it got pushed and delayed, and...
Here we are, 2022.
Here we finally fucking got it. I got my Luke with blue milk. Fuck yeah. Because you get a little minifigure in the deluxe edition. Deluxe edition sold out. You can't get it right now.
Damn.
Yeah, people were ravenous when it was like, oh, it has a release date. No. But yeah, so that's next week. So I'm doing Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, and Nathan,
I'm doing Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes,
the new one.
Well, they're technically the same.
They're the same game remake, you know.
Yeah, the Blue Point Studio remake of Shadow of the Colossus. So the people that did the Demon Souls remake.
Yes.
So, huzzah! So those are the games that we are doing next week. On that note, that's about it for this week. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you liked this podcast, please feel free to leave a review on whatever the hell you're listening to this on. It will help us out a lot. As it is, I'm very confused as to the metrics of how well our podcast is doing, because Acast decided to throw some very flattering numbers our way, but then not retain them for some reason. We'll see. But hopefully it is doing that well. I would like to know. But feel free to leave a review. If you have any suggestions about topics that we could discuss, games that we could review, things like that, feel free to just send us an email at officialrpghangout@gmail.com, or send us a tweet at RPG Hangout on Twitter, because you can do that if you want. That Twitter doesn't do a whole lot. But yeah, you can check out all of our things if you want to watch me stream Chrono Cross for the next couple weeks. I'll be doing that on my Twitch, Leo Legionnaire. If you want to listen to some of Nathan's music, you could check out his YouTube link in the description. You can also check out his Spotify.
Yes.
In the description. But with that, I believe we are through. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
See you in the next one.